I guess we can just do it like real quickly. 'Cause I don't know if we have like strong disagreements. Are you
Yeah, probably
like
not.
yeah, I don't know. Like, do you have any strong like feelings about the trans issue that like I don't know?
um, so I think that there's like consequentially there's a social negative to having lots of trans people, especially
Mhm.
for kids. And I don't know how like interactive you are with like school systems and like youth programs and things like these, but I've seen like firsthand that it's not just trans issues, like the whole LGBTQ kind of ideology that has kind of like infiltrated today's like our social mindset has have
Mhm.
had many negative effects, especially on the youth. Just the ideology itself. So I'm not against any legal things for consenting adults. That's important.
Mhm.
I don't have any legal problems with trans people. Some consenting adult legal trans people. I do have problems with like the societal impact of trans issues, though.
Okay. And when you say societal impact, you are you talking about like just in terms of like what is it? Like what could you give me some examples like just briefly?
Sure. So, one of the biggest things is I think it's going to the whole idea of like trans issues is kind of hilariously enough is a what's the word? It's an assault on the idea of identity and objectivity. So like when a man says that he is a woman and
Mhm.
and transitions to being a woman, like quote unquote being a woman, it's
Mhm.
objectively true that he is not a woman. Now he can claim to be a woman and people can respect this, but
Mhm.
people need to understand that it is objectively true that he is not a woman. He is a man pretending to be a woman, and whether you
Mhm.
believe in gender or not, you can respect that person for making that decision. But it's just
Uh,
true. We need to grill into the minds of people that there are objective
mhm.
truths about biology and there's objective truths about the binary status of males and females, men and women.
All right, so where do we leave off? Okay, we were talking about trans issues.
Trans, yeah.
So basically, your problem, the example you gave was that you think that it needs to be recognized that trans women are not actual women, and like the other way as well. Is that about right?
Yep, yep. Because the importance here is the importance of objective truth. It's
Hmm.
it's fine, I suppose, for people to say that there's something that they're not, as long as them and the people around them acknowledge objective standards of truth.
Hmm. Um, yeah. So I guess on this, so when it comes to like the trans issue and in regards to like the whole debate of are trans women, it's like it's kind of like entirely like a semantic discussion, right? And it's dependent on like the definition. So like if what you're meaning to say is that we should recognize that like they're not like biologically of the sex of like women, I mean, I don't disagree with that. I think that like that's just definitionally true by the fact that they're trans women, which like necessarily refers to the fact that they were assigned a different sex at birth. Um,
Mhm.
but I think that like I do believe in like a concept of gender in which I think under which like a gender definition of the term there would be we could classify them under the same category of women. Um, that would be my take. Do you disagree
Okay.
with that, or?
Wait. Repeat that like one more time.
Oh yeah. So I don't think we disagree. Like if the way you use the word woman in that context is just to refer to the biological sex, I don't think we disagree. Like I don't disagree that um that they're obviously they were born or they were assigned a different sex than what they identify as. My claim is just
Hmm.
that when I use the words man and woman, I'm not referring to sex. I'm referring to a gender definitions of the term. And so under those definitions, I would say that they fit the term of man and woman. But yeah, I don't know if you disagree with any of that.
Well, I don't know if I'm ready to have this debate. I don't believe that gender can be distinguished from sex, but I feel like that could be
Mhm.
a long discussion.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Like, I mean, we've been on for a while, so if you wanna do like a part two some other time, I'm definitely down. This was pretty fun.
It was fun. I do have some other qualms
Mm,
besides the idea of just like recognizing truth. Like
mm,
two of my other qualms were the negative societal impacts of being trans
mhm,
may confuse other people to like become trans or like be part of the spectrum of the LGBTQ. And this especially takes hold in like kids and stuff, which I've seen kids running around in schools and like younger people are just like they're saying things that are incredibly stupid and untrue, like saying bug and bug self and I'm a bug or something. Like identify as a bug. Like this whole idea of um you are choosing your identity. Choosing your
mhm,
identity is not the truth. So when you're able
mhm,
to now choose the identity of if you're I don't want to be a man anymore, now I want to be a woman,
mhm,
and you're going to address me as a woman, it opens the door on the idea that you can change your identity. And the thing is, remember what I said before, it's better to be agnostic than to believe a false assumption. Well, I believe
mhm,
that many people are under the false assumption that you can truly change your identity. You can change your age. Like you've seen the videos online of like the man who pretends to be a baby. You can
mhm,
choose to change your species. Like some people pretend to be dogs or whatever. Like you can choose to change your
mhm.
sex. You can't change your identity, and the idea that you can change your identity is dangerous.
Okay. Well, certainly you would agree that there are parts of your identity that you can change, right? Like, for example, the easiest example, your name. You can change your name whenever you want. And
Yeah,
there's no issues with there, right?
yeah.
Um, yeah. So, yeah, yeah, I guess, like, I would agree that there are certain things that I think are more fixed that I don't think can be changed. Like age has a very strict sort of societally useful definition that is based on the number of years you were born. So I wouldn't want to change that. I think in regards to the gender discussion, though, I think that I look at it more as like a sort of a social thing, similar to like what a name. And so, like again, it's kind of like I guess like it goes back to like the definition that we were talking about. Is that like again, if we're say like I don't think that we they are saying or that we should be that the terms that we're using is to imply that like the biological component of their identity is the thing they're changing. It's just more like a sort of social sort of like gender is kind of like a more social thing. It's not really like a social identity. I don't really view it on like a like as something like that's how I distinguish it from sex fundamentally.
Hmm. But the
Hmm.
thing is, society is downstream from biology. And so there are
Hmm.
some truths that need to be respected in the same way that you need to accept like a praxeological framework when you're approaching economics. You need to accept a certain framework of truths when you're approaching society. So you need to have some ground rules. And while I agree with you that it's fine to like change your name, there's so
Hmm.
many, there's so many things that are okay with you changing about your identity. Like you can have more piercings, you can have tattoos, you can get into shape, and you can do all sorts of these things that alter your identity in subtle ways. But what is it I'm trying to I'm not sure if I can exactly pin it down, but there seems to be a challenge of this idea that you can change something that is binary, something that is black and white. Like you can change your species, you can change your age, you can change your sex.
Hmm.
Um, this is just false. You can't change those things. You can
Hmm.
change your name, you can change the way you look, your appearance.
Hmm.
Um, you can even change your appearance as like a man to like appear like a woman. You can have surgery and stuff. You can change your appearance. Um,
Hmm.
and you're allowed to do that. That's fine. The problem
Hmm.
is when you identify as something that you are not.
Sure. Well, yeah, I think that um, but I think the important thing that we have to like think about here is that like fundamentally, like when someone says um like that they're identifying as something. I think it's important to evaluate their statement based on what they're trying to communicate. But I think that's because like that's something at the point of language is that like we're trying to communicate something, and sometimes we may not have like a shared definition that we're both are using to refer to the term. But if I can understand what they mean, um, like and if they're using it in a different way than me, I think the example that I would give is like in this I think debate, like we probably use a couple of terms quite differently, but like we can communicate our ideas to each other, and I think that like that's kind of how I view it. Like so when a trans woman says that they're a woman, I'm not taking that to I think I'm not taking that to mean that they're referring to something that I don't think can be changed, like their biological sex. I'm just taking it to mean something that's like less something that I think can be changed, which is just the gender. Does that make sense? Or...
Yeah, that does make sense.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I mean, this whole like kind of sort of topic always seems to me like just to be kind of like just a semantic like kind of disagreement where it's like like you'll have these debates like people will go and be like, oh, are trans women, and it's like I mean fundamentally we just have to first establish what both sides mean when they're using the term, and like obviously like if someone is claiming that they're like biologically a different sex, that's like yeah, then I think that's like I would probably agree with you, that's probably like a false claim, and we could say that they shouldn't be espousing like something that's false. But if they're like just making a claim about like a different part of their identity, that is something that's more malleable. And I think I don't know, I don't have any like personal issues with that. But yeah.
I would say that and this is where we agree and disagree. Um,
Yeah.
so we agree that trans people can't change their biological sex. What we disagree on
Yeah.
is the idea that people can now co-opt the word woman and man because we believe that
Mhm.
these are socialized terms. Like these are terms that are referring to something social rather than biological. But I have a problem
Mhm.
with this idea of hijacking words because if we look at the definition of woman and man, and I'm not sure how
Mhm.
much longer these are going to stay up as the official definitions. I'm
Mhm.
certain they're going to change soon. But the
Mhm.
current definition of woman, if you Google it, is an adult female human being. And if
Yeah.
if you look at the definition of female, you're going to get of denoting the sex that can bear offspring or produce eggs. And
Mhm.
so if we're speaking linguistically, a
Mhm.
woman is a biological, an adult female biological human. That is just the
Mhm.
definition of the word. Now, I disagree
Mhm.
with this idea that we can change the definition now to make woman mean something social rather than what it's
Mhm.
always meant, which is it's rooted in something biological.
Hmm. Um. Okay. Well, this might get into like back into a little bit of like a philosophy thing because like it seems to me that you're kind of you like place some sort of like objectivity on terms of what the definition of terms are. Like I'm like my view on definitions that I view them as like I think definitions are completely like non-propositional, meaning I don't think they have truth values. Um, I think that like when someone gives me like a definition, I like fundamentally it's just a definition. A definition is just like an encapsulation of like a larger string of words into a smaller string of words. That's how
So,
I
like a
view a definition.
concept, right?
Yeah, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and so it's like when someone's trying to communicate something, like I think it's a bit unhelpful, or like um, I just don't really see the purpose. Or I think it's like a bit weird to sort of reject someone's premise on the basis of their definitions. I think it's um, like because like you could reject any premise that way, but like I think that it's like as long like if they're you can disagree with the definition for sure, and I think everybody has like disagreements on certain definitions. But I think that like in my view, like if I understand in terms of what they're communicating, then I like I just don't see it as a big deal. If you get what I mean.
I see what you're saying. I understand where you're getting the essence of the argument when you say that this is a semantic dispute.
Hmm.
Essentially, what it comes down to is
Yeah.
that we value different things. I want the
Yeah.
word woman. I want the word
Mhm.
woman because I'm a baby. I want the word woman to mean the thing that it's meant my entire life because that's what I understand it is. And then many people on
Mhm.
the left and you know
Mhm.
like whatever people who are for the liberal transitivity movement want woman
Mhm.
to mean something social. And what this is really going
Mhm.
to come down to is it's just my ick versus your ick. And
Mhm.
the truth is we're just going to use different words. And that's
Yeah.
just what's going to happen. Like, because
Well, I think.
there's no moral basis for either of our cases. This is really just like, oh, I want this. And it's like, oh, I want this. And that's basically it.
Yeah. Well, I think words can mean like different things in different contexts, right? So like if I'm having a discussion with you and like I know the way that you're using the word woman is to refer to biology because that's the way you're using it and that's what you said. So like
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. It's like this is like a good example of this is um like for example like let's say that I were to play like pick up like a big like a paper bag like a dark brown paper bag and I would say something like, "Oh, this paper bag is really light." And now, depending on how you interpret the definition of the word light, because light can have many different definitions, right? You can say light refers to the weight of the bag, in which case the statement would be true, or you can say that light refers to the color of the bag, in which case it would be false because the bag is dark colored. But it's like, um, fundamentally, it's just the truth value of the statement just rests upon, I think, what the person means. Like, when they espouse a statement is like, what I think. But yeah, it is fundamentally just like yeah, it is semantics. Like as we said, it's yeah, just like if we want to use the word in this way, you want to use the word in that way. There's no real, I guess, resolution to that.
Yeah, I mean it's just my preferences versus your preferences, because it's linguistics and linguistics have no foundation in deductive. I mean, other than the case of like identity, they don't have any. They don't
Mhm.
have any. What is it? Justificatory standard in which they must maintain static. They don't have a justification for remaining static, and I understand that. Like a language evolves, totally makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, it's
Mhm.
just it gives me the ick. Okay, to use a word that I've used my whole life
Mhm.
to mean something that it's not. It gives me the ick. All right, that's the argument, and it's the same. It's the same for your side too. It gives you the ick that people on my side won't relinquish the term.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, it's just yeah, I guess my argument would just be like, yeah, based on I think it's like yeah, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like tied. I guess you can say it's like based because it is preferences and like I mean, I would tie it to like my moral system, but I guess that's like yeah, you would consider that to just be preferences, which I guess like yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like yeah, it is kind of
Because your
like
moral
that, I
system
guess.
is preferences, you fool.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Look,
just
I mean,
kidding.
look, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I've held that view for a long time. Like, I might go back to it. I don't know. Well, I'll have to do more reading, and then I'll go back to you on that.
I'm messing with you, bro. I mean, it's true. The fool part was a
That's all
joke
good.
because Andrew Wilson always calls people fools at the end of what he's saying. Um, I'm not his fan.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I just like watching his debates. I disagree with him on
Oh,
so much, but he says a
dude,
lot of funny shit.
I'm the exact same. I disagree with that guy on everything, but I actually watch all of his debates.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. They're just entertaining. They are.
yeah, they
Um,
are really. Yeah.
just like I used to watch a ton of Destiny stuff.
Hmm.
Like a ton of his stuff. And dude, he used to be so based, but like now he's like
Hmm.
so crazy aggressive. He said the smartest stuff I've ever heard and the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Yeah, his takes on philosophy are like honestly the worst. Like, I find his all his ethical takes to be just like apparently he's into virtue ethics now, which is like really weird.
I don't know, man. He's all over the place. I don't think when he talks about philosophy, it seems like
Yeah,
he really understands some of the complex topics. I think
yeah.
he doesn't take the time to really study it. If he did, I think he could definitely ground his philosophy. But I think
Hmm.
he's really a fast learner in everything he does. But he doesn't take the time to really understand it. That's all.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, he's definitely smart in some regards. But yeah, I find him to be a bit like stupid in like others. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have like
Yeah,
super strong opinions on.
like
Yeah,
calling for the whatever like the justified killings of people that he doesn't agree
Yeah.
with. That's a rough one, buddy. That's a rough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess we kind of talked about all our disagreements so far. Anything else that we didn't touch on yet, or?
no, we talked about everything, dude. We talked about everything.
Yeah, crazy. I mean, yeah.
Damn.
Well, this was really fun. I mean,
This was
uh,
super fun. Dude, we need to figure out more topics to discuss because whenever I have these conversations, what ends up happening
yeah,
is I talk with the other person and then like
yeah.
I never talk to them again.
Really. Oh yeah.
Really. But you're a fun person to talk to. I like you. You're open-minded and you're very thoughtful. So I like that about
Yeah.
you. I definitely want us to
Yeah.
talk more about more stuff. I don't know what we could talk more about. I'm sure there's stuff we could talk about.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, if you come up with any topics, I'll let you know. I've been thinking about shit. I left a message. I wanted to debate Sithis on this because I follow his channel. Like, I mean, I'm not subscribed, but I went to his channel today.
Mm.
Not today, but like this week. He has a video up about like utilitarianism. Made me a bit mad. He was like, he he uses like this is his like and this is my frustration with him. Like every time I see all of his debates, they're like all the same thing. Where it's like against utilitarians especially, it's just like okay, the one hypothetical where would you like do like unsavory acts like one like I'm not gonna say the word but like the R
Yeah,
word
yeah,
to like
I
one
know what you're
like
saying.
young
Yeah, I know what you're
child,
saying.
yeah, to like create that utopia of everybody like and it's like and like basically if you like bite the bullet on that and say like yeah the utilitarian conclusion is true and then like he doesn't really give you any other further arguments about why that's wrong, just like yeah okay you've justified that therefore your ethic is wrong. So I don't know. I wanted to debate him on that because I actually have I think there are certain like insane hypotheticals you could create for any ethical system where you could justify like any action, like if you make the hypothetical ridiculous enough. But yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see if he responds to me.
That is interesting. I already know the silver bullet to that argument, which I'm not sure if you know it or not, but I want to be clear. Sithis is my friend. We have
Yeah.
we have some very small disagreements on certain things.
Hmm.
But that example is good against leftists because leftists are all about the ick. Now I have to be completely honest
Yeah.
with you. That is an ick
Yeah.
argument. It is.
It is.
Because the
Yeah.
utilitarian argument is simply that yes, you would allow for that, and because you would be such a prosperous nation that it's of course it's worth it. But it's really icky to say that you would do that to someone. And leftists are
Yeah.
all about like it's bad to do icky things to innocent people. That's what leftists are all about. So one of
Yeah.
the reasons that argument is so powerful against leftists is because they
Yeah.
don't want to accept that outcome because they don't like icky things. But yeah, it is an icky argument. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah. It's like it's very rhetorical. Yeah, I do get that. Like, I will like. It is interesting because it's like the whole thing around like I guess I'll just say it, the whole thing around rape is that like it's like that's one of the main arguments that a lot of like ANCAPs use. It's like because like like obviously there's a lot of power behind it. It's like oh my gosh like you're justifying like violating someone's bodily autonomy and all that. But it's funny
Mm-hmm.
because this is something that I always like I've been wanting to point out is that like if you replace like any of these situations, if you replace the word like rape with kill or murder, like most people actually intuitively don't have as much problems with it. It's like okay, would you kill one person to create that perfect utopia? Well, suddenly it seems more justified, even though like I don't know, like in my opinion, like I think murder is obviously worse than rape because murder is wrong for the same reasons rape is, but you're also taking the life, right?
Yeah.
Like you're violating someone's consent and then you're also ending their life. Whereas with rape, you're just
I actually
violating
agree
their
with you.
consent.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah,
reason that essay, I'm just gonna call it essay because I'm
yeah.
on YouTube and YouTube absolutely fucking hates my guts.
Oh fuck, sorry
The
about
reason
that.
you're
Right,
fine, you're fine. The reason that
yeah,
I think essay is so like vile to most people is because
yeah,
okay, how do I say this without saying it? I want to say that the vast majority of people value one sex more than the other,
Yeah.
and also, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's like a natural thing. Um,
Yeah.
and that specific thing, that specific case, is like
Yeah.
is the second worst thing you can possibly do to that specific member of the sex. It's the worst. It's the second worst thing you can do, right behind killing them. It's the absolute worst thing you can do. And in many female perspectives, it is even worse than death. And I don't know if
Yeah.
they actually believe that or if they're just saying that, but like, I'm ashamed to admit it, but I watched the whatever podcast, and if you see how many women answer the question of man versus bear, they would all
Yeah.
rather be killed by a bear. They would all just
Yeah.
all of them. They just rather die from a bear than be alone with a man. And it's interesting. It's very interesting to see that. I don't know quite
Yeah.
what it means. I don't know if that's actually true or if they're just saying that because that's what they think they believe, or if they actually do fear um, SA more than death. But yeah, that's just an interesting thing.
Yeah, I think it's just it's like yeah, I agree with with you. I think also another reason is just that it's yeah, it's like there's a very like huge social stigma around it that kind of influences like our intuitions, I guess, because it's like yeah, it's like when you I guess yeah, in one way it's like for example because like when the fact that an SA survivor like they're alive and they can actually like advise like tell explain their experiences to us, we can kind of get a greater sense of how like bad the experience of getting SA'd is. Versus with murder, like I mean, everybody who gets murdered is dead, so
Yeah,
don't really know, don't
true.
really have any live murder victims to talk to. So yeah, I don't
Yes.
know.
Yeah. No, that's very true.